Plight by author Renee Drummond-Brown. You don't get that right to understand our plight. Were you there when that slave girl was killed the very day they stole her away? Were you there when that slave girl was bound, shackled, and chained, cowbells on the neck that rang? Were you there when she rode that vast ocean on Noah's waves of never-ending rains? Were you there at her door of no return, uneducated to your custom and ways, with an unfair playing ground while trying to learn? Were you there standing on that auction block at 14 years of age as she watched that auctioneer's gavel drop? Sold to the highest bidder, he'd say. To her dismay, all was at loss, down to her family, just given away free of cost. Were you there as she picked a bale, old cotton? Were you there when sorted out the bushels that rotted? Were you there as she picked all through her midnight? Were you there when she couldn't give Massa any fight? Were you there when she warned Massa anytime he wanted, both day and or night? Were you there when she had to cast all her cares on a God she was told didn't care? Were you there as she entered those back doors? Were you there when she was called a wench and then some more? Were you there when she was kicked to the ground like Christ got back up and never made a sound? Were you there when she had to eat slime and hogs? Were you there to watch her treated less than a dog? Were you there when mixed babies came from her? Were you there when she begged Massa to keep those chillins in that dear dirt, plus for the ones not belonging to her? Were you there as she watched so many hung on high? Were you there when she stood tall at it all, never allowing to cry? Were you there while she couldn't tire, sleep, nor snore? Were you there when she polished silverware, plucked string beans while cleaning on hands and knees? Oh, those hated hardware floors. Were you there when Missy lied on her? Were you there at her foul treatment, far less than dirt? Were you there at her rapes, beatings, and cries? Were you there as she wondered if God even cared, let alone was alive? Were you there when she prayed to just die? Were you there when she ate humility pie? Were you there at worship while sitting in that balcony asking permission to use black-only facilities? Were you there when that slave girl was killed the day they stole her away? And you have the nerve to wonder why you don't get that right to understand our plight. I've been there because she lives in the still of my nights.